Good afternoon, you bunch of freaking beautiful people. It is your boy Trey from Treyders back again with the Mulligan brothers, the Apes Together Strong Doc creators, the absolute legends and geniuses who are putting together the story of the apes, by the apes, for the apes. How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
Solid. Doing great.
Yeah. Beautiful weather here in Portland.
I'll tell you what.
Hyundai commercial popping up.
It's been raining in Oklahoma for like the last 2 weeks. I'm so glad I was on vacation up until just a couple days ago. But it's great to have you guys here. And ultimately, we won't want to waste people's time here with Memorial Day. But I do want to take 30 seconds, 60 seconds to give out a quick message before we get into the meat and potatoes today, which is the real story behind Memorial Day. Obviously, we know what today is all about. We know what it embodies, and it's good to spend time with family and friends and celebrate the people around you. But I think it's also important to remember, to reflect, to mourn, and to celebrate the people who sacrifice, a lot so that we can talk about the exact things that we're talking about right now. My father was in the military for 25 years. My grandpa was a Vietnam vet, and it's important to recognize that they set the stones so that us three, the people watching this stream, can live a free life. So much thanks to everybody out there who served and who paid a sacrifice for the American people. It's much appreciated. But without further ado, what's this project, man? For all those new people out there, give us the holy grail of what this Apes Together Strong Doc is all about.
Hell yeah. Sorry, my other computer was on listening to you in the other room, and it was really loud, so I had to run away.
Yeah, it was confusing. Yeah, that's all good, man. No worries.
For everyone who doesn't know, we're the Mulligan brothers. I'm Finley. It's my brother Quinn. And what we're trying to do is tell the truth about all of you and what's happening in our markets today with the short squeeze of a lifetime, potentially, but more importantly, the paradigm shift that's happening between retail investment and Wall Street. We've been holding AMC and GME since early January. We've been a part of every major battle since 801, the rise in GME all the way down to sub $40. And in that moment in particular, my brother and I kind of looked at each other and said, something important is happening here. We have to start documenting and make sure that this story is told right, because the media is certainly doing a terrible job of telling everyone what's going on. And if we don't try to control the narrative ourselves, someone else is going to do it. So we decided that the way that we can help this movement and this community is by using the tools that we have, which is filmmaking. So we decided to make the project and have been cruising ever since. Brother, did I leave anything out there?
No, I just kind of wanted to second Trey's intro there about Memorial Day. Our dad's a Vietnam vet. He had pretty bad post-traumatic stress. So if you have an opportunity to donate your time to some organization that's helping veterans in some way, particularly after the fact, do it. We appreciate your thoughts on this day.
Absolutely, Quinn. Absolutely. So I kind of want to talk about a couple different pivotal points about the documentary that I've seen questions on Twitter. I'm sure you guys have seen them too, but this is obviously a great unifying point to make clarifications if that needs to be the case. Before I do that, I just want to let everybody know that's watching right now, there's going to be a Q&A at the end. It'll be about 10 minutes long. So if you have any questions or that sort of thing, save it till the end and we'll definitely get back to you guys and answer any questions. But the first thing that I kind of wanted to ask questions about, because I've seen this all over the place, is why do we want to start the documentary now? Why are we worried about the documentary now when the squeeze hasn't squoze yet? We're obviously very close. I think we're weeks away, but I think that's a fair concern that can be addressed, by just simple, explanation from you guys, because you've been in this industry, you've done similar things before, and you've got a great background. Just walk us through why you wanted to start it now instead of after the squeeze began.
Totally. Films do take a lot of preparation, to create. So we need to have all our planning and organization all set up before we start. The story is also unfolding as we speak. A lot of things have happened since the starting of this saga, and we'd like to make sure that we don't miss anything along the way, especially, if and when it does squeeze. We want to be able to capture that for the documentary. That's going to be a big moment. So, yeah, brother, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, just like you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like we'd rather make this movie in the moment than reflect on the moment and make it that way, So we're already starting. I mean, films take a long time to put together. Like the business of filmmaking, there's legal, there's scheduling, there's organization, there's all kinds of kind of paperworky research type stuff that we have to start now. I mean, that stuff takes weeks, months even. So for us to be able to build the team, build our subjects, build out our schedule and the narrative plan of the film, we have to start early. And also, we just don't want to miss it when this thing explodes.
Yeah,
more than it already has.
How much paperwork goes into making a movie? It's a lot.
And like just to talk about the media and how they're portraying everything. Like, there's no time like the present to correct that story and to tell it right. So that's the other thing is, time is of the essence before it's too late, and history books have already written a different story than should be written.
And that's what I think is really fascinating about this documentary is that it is told by apes. I mean, you're pulling a lot of information, a lot of videos, a lot of stories from individual people. I think that's a really important piece of this to discuss, is like, that's the whole embodiment of this movement, the AMC movement, is the idea of we as the little guy have a stronger voice when we come together to do something collective. I think that's what people care about ultimately. And that's also, I think, what they're scared about, which is important to say. I think there's some people who might be riding AMC as clout chasers and guys who are trying to make the money and XYZ, right? But you guys are really out here trying to do something that is for the people, which I think is an important message to kind of get across. One question that I've got, and we're getting into kind of this big announcement that I'm very excited for you guys to lay the freaking scunion on, is, so who are some of the people that you've gotten into the documentary so far? Who are some people on the schedule? How is this all lined up? What's the structure looking like? Do you have any update as to what the people can expect for when this does come out?
Yeah, I mean, the team, like our subjects we're trying to keep it varied, right? Like, we need market experts to try to fill out the questions that we have. We need people actually doing this due diligence, like, apes that are on the front lines, as it were. We need apes themselves to be telling their stories. So people like Trey, like you're one of them, of course. Your story in its own right is really interesting and great. But you, as a YouTuber, providing kind of like a town square or a public house for people to share and give ideas is an important part of this movement. So that perspective, we have experts like Dave Lauer on board, Dennis Kelly of Better Markets. I mean, these are heavy hitters in the financial industry and who are affecting policy and change. So Austin Tobit, A Tobit on Reddit, who's written House of Cards 1, 2, and 3, like, he's amazing, and what he's uncovered and subsequently had peer reviewed with like Dr. Suzanne Trimbath is really indicative of how amazing this whole thing can be and how we can affect change. So the list just keeps getting better and better, and we're really telling the story about all of you, but making sure that within that entertaining, heartfelt story, that we're actually uncovering what people need to know about what's happening in the markets, and hopefully we can spark some people to make some real change.
Absolutely.
Amen, brother. You know what? I think this is a beautiful segue into, I think, what you guys are most excited to tell people about. So you might as well freaking let her buck and give out that awesome announcement that I have the pleasure of knowing a little bit ahead of time.
Hell yeah. I mean, with all these people that we're interviewing, obviously we want to include CEOs of these companies and their perspective of as being someone who has experience trying to run a company while being preyed upon by short sellers. And so Aron, the other day we were walking, we were trying to brainstorm a scene for the film, and then I got a phone call, and he's like, "Hey, it's Aron." He's like, "Oh, okay, hi." So he just called me up, and we had been talking on Twitter a little bit, and he said he'd absolutely love to be in the film. His perspective for us, of course, is super fascinating. We'd love to get more people like that, but Aron is going to be in the film for an interview for Apes Together Strong.
Yeah, dude, you guys should be so jacked. Let's fucking go. That's nuts.
Pretty jacked up.
That's so cool.
Hell yeah, we're super stoked.
Come on, Ryan Cohen, let's get you in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
I think.
Yeah, get it. Come on.
It's really easy to think that just
the way Adam.
Go ahead. No, right on.
I mean, that's it. I mean, the way he's interacted with his shareholders and his company has been pretty fascinating to watch. He's really taking note of the power that this collective has to make real change. And, this new investor, this ape investor, right? Like, they buy stocks that they like, and then they hold those stocks as if that was a bad thing, So I don't know. It's been fascinating to watch how he's been interacting, and we'd love to ask him questions and get his perspective. So we're over the moon, as it were.
Yeah,
Pretty
man.
Stoked. Yeah. It's going to be an interesting conversation. I'm really excited to see what he has to say about all this.
I think he's an interesting character because he's kind of this hybrid of, he's a CEO of a company, right? Obviously, he's got to be professional. He's got to manage his company. He's got to do what suits do, right? But he's also shown that he's supportive of the apes, and I would honestly consider him an ape, so you've kind of got this middle ground between what's like the actual industry, right? The stock markets, the companies, how the mechanisms work, and you can get kind of firsthand experience on what is actually going on behind the scenes and how he's dealing with that, alongside of how it feels to like watch a community of people who absolutely freaking love the company essentially save a company, because it's not something he could have done by himself. It's something that we all did together collectively as the apes, and I'm freaking super excited to see him on there, man. That's gonna be so goddamn cool for sure.
Yeah, totally.
It's a big one.
I mean, hopefully we keep that dialogue going, and then if you're listening, Adam, we can maybe show our film, premiere our film.
No pressure.
Yeah, right.
No pressure, but next step we'll talk.
Okay, so the next piece that I kind of want to get into is obviously, documentaries take money to make, right? And this is something that you guys have been very public and transparent about on Twitter, with your website, the platform, right? Talk a little bit about this crowdfund and what this means. And then after you say something, I'd just like to give my little piece on that crowdfund as well. But please explain what this whole process is, what you're looking at with this crowdfund.
Yeah, I mean, we want to compete at the top tier of filmmaking in the industry with this project. We want to get your faces at the Oscars. So I mean, making a film at that level is not cheap. Legal alone is nearly 50 grand in some cases. So like all of it's like I said before, the business of filmmaking it's a big cumbersome process, and it just costs money. So we're trying to crowdfund as much as we can within the community. We really believe in everybody's voice and voting with their dollar. So we're trying to make sure to involve you guys throughout the process. Our goal, we're trying to reach $500,000 with our crowdfund. What we don't reach with that, we're going to try to find traditional investment, that sort of thing. But honestly, to get this thing up there on as many screens as possible and looking as amazing as possible, we're going to shoot high and try to do this thing at the top level of what you see in Hollywood, And honestly, like $500,000 is not a lot for a documentary these days. Most what you see on Netflix is $1 million, $2 million, whatever. So we're trying to do it as lean as possible, but also as good as possible, and not sacrifice the things that are really going to have this thing compete with the other people telling the same story, essentially. But from, we think, the wrong perspective.
Anything you want to add to that, Quinn?
Just that it's important to us that this is as polished and clean as possible. We need to make sure that, like my brother said, competing at the highest level possible. The more accessible and entertaining and well put together this film is, the wider that audience is going to be, that we're going to be able to reach. And if it's really clean and polished, which it will be, no matter where we get, we're going to put everything into this film. That affects distribution, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, we want as wide of an audience as possible, and the best chance at winning some awards to bring as much awareness to this topic as possible. Of course, we'd like to win some awards too, but but it's important to reach a wide audience, and I think by doing this crowdfunding right, we can do that.
And I've seen a couple people express concerns, and you guys feel free to speak up after this, but I kind of want to offer my 2 cents on this, right? I think it's important to walk the walk. You can't say one thing and then do another. So about this crowdfund, right? I'm absolutely supportive of this, by the way, obviously. I think it's first the most important priority as an individual person. If you've only got money to do X and you've got kind of this subtask over here, right? Obviously, you have to take care of X. You got to feed yourself. You got to pay your bills. You got to invest in stocks, do whatever you got to do, right? That's the most important thing. This crowdfund, I think, where we really need to double down is we're not asking you to choose between AMC stock and crowdfund investment. In fact, I think that's probably the wrong way to do it. I think first off, you should, take care of yourself, take opportunity with this squeeze if that's what you're interested in, and buy AMC stock. This crowdfund, right, this raising of money is solely for the reason of, if you want to support this film by the apes, for the apes, right, that's an opportunity for you to do so. Nobody's sitting here saying you got to do it. And I'll tell you here, first and foremost, that by mid-June next month, I'll have already invested just shy of $45,000 into this documentary. So I'm absolutely supportive of it. This is not something I would preach on my channel if I did not think it was a fucking awesome opportunity to have people's stories told, and these guys were the real deal. So I think that's a really important message to pass along. And if you guys have anything you want to say about that, obviously feel free to add in.
Of course, my internet craps out right in the middle of you talking. So
right.
by the way. Brother, why don't you take this one?
Yeah, definitely. Take care of yourself first. We're going to try and raise as much as we can through crowdfunding. It's important that you only put in what you can afford to put in, if you can only do $5-10, that's fine. If you can do 10 grand, that's really fine. But it's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever it means to you to see this film get made and have these stories told. Don't kill yourself over it, man. But if you can support,
if you can't do anything, just share it out. Share the word about the project. The more eyes on this thing, the better. Mostly because these stories are important to tell. We think, and there are there's been the argument of well, Apes will all do stuff for free. Why do you need to crowdfund? Blah blah. The thing is, we feel that artists, for doing their time, deserve to get paid. I mean, how many musicians out there, have been asked to do their friend's wedding for free, and it's that's how you make your money. So anyone who comes on the project, if you're a DP or whatever, a camera guy, camera girl, camera woman, camera lady, you deserve to get paid, So we're mostly crowdfunding so we can pay our crew and take care of the logistical side of things. So it's all important stuff.
Absolutely. I think that's the majority of the main topics. Is there any other things that you guys want to, roll with or tell everybody that's watching right now before we get into, this 10-minute Q&A section where people can ask you guys questions about the documentary?
I mean, we're just really, really excited. I mean, it comes down to really why we made this film in the first place. The media would have you to believe that it's a bunch of 32-year-old white guys hell-bent on a quick scam on the internet. But the truth is, you can't put these people in a box, right? They're Germans, they're Koreans, they're people from Sri Lanka, they're Oregonian, Canadians, they're men, women, black, white, right, left, this group of people, more than almost a third of Americans and millions more across the world are a part of this movement. In our film, we want it to be entertaining, to have the personality of the community, the memes, the comedy, the heart from all of you. And I think us telling it from the perspective of people who have been in this from the beginning and actually are one of you, Apes, is the only way you're going to have that in an authentic way. Other people are going to make great films. Ours is going to be different in that it's actually coming from the community outward. So that's what's important to me about it anyway.
Absolutely, man. That was a great way to sum it up. You've got way better way with words than this smooth brain guy over here. I'll tell you that right now. Rock on.
My brain's not so wrinkled.
All right. Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open it up to anybody who's got questions for the next 10 minutes or so. So this is coming from Big Lou Gaming. He says, "Are these guys investing into AMC as well? Do they even eat crayons? Let's see their portfolio, and we shall support." So Big Lou Gaming asking if you guys are investing.
So a couple things. Our first video that released, I'm eating crayons in it. So
yeah. So please just check it out.
Yeah.
Literally eating childhood crayons that we borrowed from my grandma.
Yeah, totally. We're both invested in AMC, and I'm not going to share my position.
Yeah, we're both invested in both stocks. It's the only two stocks I own. So yeah, we're check history on Reddit, on Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm Almanac on Reddit. He's Cyclops QHM. You'll see even before this project, us asking about shit and trying to do our own horrible DDs and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
we've been around.
Yeah. Man, I mostly comment on the fermenting subreddit. So
you guys take eating crayons to a whole new level. I can't even. That's so awesome.
We're not supposed to?
No, that's what they always say. They always say, "Hey, we eat crayons," but you guys are really doing it. Dang, that's crazy. All right.
Yeah, it's hurting my stomach. That's not good. Yeah,
sure. Okay, we got. Feel free to put my banner plane video in the movie. It would be honored just to see. So this is coming from JF Wall Street Viking. There's some people, you've probably seen it, guys, that have been paying to fly planes with banners over different parts of the United States and over the world. I think that would definitely be a really cool thing to put in the documentary. You guys have probably already thought of that. I'm guessing, but that's a huge point that the JF Wall Street Vikings said for sure.
Yeah, if anyone has any footage of that, of course, if you have 4K footage, that'd be great. Just send it over to info@apesttogetherstrongdoc.com. Hell yeah, we want to see that in the documentary. That's some crazy shit.
Yeah, on Twitter, what Cat Striker's been doing on Twitter as well. We talked to her for a while, and it's there's part of this documentary we'll have to focus on this the hype around this community and the excitement. So yeah, we're sure that'll play a role somehow in the narrative for sure.
Yeah.
Huge. And that's the big thing about this doc too, is like there are videos and segments and clips that are literally getting taken from regular everyday people like you and me who are just a part of this cause, man. So like absolutely 100% double down on the fact that if you want to see something in that doc, shoot your stuff over to that email. I mean, you've got nothing but opportunity, without a doubt.
Yeah, and if you can
tweet us, whatever, like we'll answer you on Reddit, Twitter, whatever. Like we're on there all the time, making sure we're engaging. You know, it takes a lot of time, but it's important to us that we're actually talking to all of you because we are one of you. Like that's the other thing. Is like,
right.
We're not some weirdos coming from outside trying to profit off your back. So we will absolutely talk and engage.
It's worth mentioning that on our website we have a portal where you can submit your own story. So take a photo or video of yourself and then telling your story and why you're into the stock and submit it to our website. That's been amazing. The videos we've gotten have been incredible from all over the world. Generally people just saying that they want to help their communities. They want to help their families. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's really hard not to get emotional watching these videos because, I can see a lot of our own story in it. And just the similarities behind all these people that are kind of just struggling to exist in the world, which is more wealthy than it's ever been. It's frustrating. So it's interesting why all these people have gotten into this at the same time too. So if you have a story that you'd like to tell us, submit it to the website. We would love to see it.
It's your why, man. It's your why. It's absolutely your story, and everybody's story matters. And I think that's what people really gravitate towards because it, regardless of your differences, it's a polarizing, opportunity where you can all come together under one roof, which is really freaking sick to see. All right. I had an idea. Coming from Christina Duckworth, she says, is there a way to include the apes in the credits? Maybe create a hashtag, and I already know the answer to this, a hashtag or something, or those who support love all you guys. What do you say to that, Mulligan Brothers?
Hell yes. I mean, with the Reddit usernames alone are probably going to give us like an R rating, like because they're hilarious. But man, they're brutal.
For 2069.
Yeah,
let's go.
I mean, if you donate to the crowdfund, like your name goes in the credits, you get a free copy of the film at our lowest level at $30. So like that's one way. Like anyone who like contributes, of course, you're going to be in there. Like, but yeah, the Twitter handles, the Reddit names, your real names is going to be quite the list of special thanks. That's for sure. So
I will say if it's like a super racist or misogynistic or anything like that, we're not going to put it in. So,
obviously, right.
Heads up.
So this is a good question. This is coming from Meditate and Relax with Sam. He's saying, is it too late if we want to get involved with sending clips in?
Not at all. Do it. We want to see your videos.
Too easy. Easy.
Also, if you hear snoring, that's not me. It's my pug passed out.
No, it's definitely you, man. It's definitely you.
Really stuck it
Yeah. We love to see it. Oh, man. Everybody, there's a couple of people in the chat bar telling me to put my glasses on. They're not by me right now, so you guys are out of luck. I apologize. Finley is a better man than I am.
I love how they look out for you. Oh, that reminds me.
All right, so here's Nutbush Villain says, just wanted to thank you guys for taking the time and effort to do this. Can't wait to see it, so that's good. One thing I haven't heard from in all this is a perspective from anyone who worked in the hedge funds. Do you interview any ex-hedge fund people? Great freaking question, Adam, because we actually have an answer for that. Go ahead.
We really want to, yes.
Great question. We love seeing it.
Absolutely. Like it's important, like we were watching The Inside Job the other day, and like the way that they incorporate counter perspective is really successful. And like we'd be stupid not like this isn't a hype movie, hopefully you get pumped and it hypes you just because you're so invested in making change. So in that way, hopefully it'll be exciting, but like it really is a social issue film. So by not showing that other perspective, we'd be doing a disservice. So we absolutely want to, like we'll interview anybody, all right, Kenny G out there.
Rich Greenfield.
Yeah. Do all of it. Yeah. Like we really want to have that perspective. So yes.
Awesome. Right on. We'll take 2 more questions for these guys. Mike Lee says legacy. I absolutely agree, brother. No question here. Just 100% support of the Ape Nation. All right. Seems like a lot of people are digging this. Thanks for all your hard work. Will the film be a lot like the documentary Don't Fuck with Cats? Hunting an Internet Killer.
I love that documentary. I think it's great, and it's a good counterpoint. That's one of the first documentaries I thought of when we started thinking about how we want to make this film. So, hell yeah, I love that doc. It's a good one.
So,
I mean, that like The Big Short, it's not a documentary, of course, but like the voice of the narration is really successful and how it is entertaining, but also breaks down these really complicated issues. It's like that's going to be the battle, right? When it comes to style of the film, is how do we make, naked short selling, FTDs, rehypothecation, like how do we make these things like fun to watch? So that'll be our challenge. And yeah, movies like that are great kind of guiding films for us.
Honestly, that's the part I'm most excited for with making this film, other than getting your stories out there, of course, but it's going to be so much fun to find creative ways to explain these more complicated concepts. I'm really excited to get into that.
I think that's what's kind of cool about the ape community, though, and it's an easy opportunity. Like, you're going to have two different perspectives, right? Especially if you get some suits in here that give their offerings on things that they've seen and dealt with throughout AMC or whatever it is, their decades of experience. Is you'll have those regular Joes, the apes, who have learned all this stuff just by freaking showing up every day and studying and learning everything every single day, right? And then you'll have these suits who break it down in their technical terms and have different aspects and perspectives. But I think it's going to be a fascinating opportunity to not only learn something about what happened, the legacy that we're writing literally right now, but like you said, like a social, freaking psychological. I mean, there's so much that's getting packed into this documentary. So
yeah, it's a lot. It certainly is, but there's a way to do it right. And the most important thing is that we stay true to the community and where we come from, and make sure that we're actually showing the truth about who you all are and what we're trying to do, because it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, man. All right, we are going to take one more question. I see Miguel and the Gyran Lee. I appreciate you guys dropping those super chats. We just want to answer one more question for anybody that's got one here. When is the release date, and will there be pre and post pandemic views on how life has changed the past year, stock based?
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a release date yet. Once we actually plan and schedule this thing, we'll have a better picture. We'd like to do it before the year's end, but I think the main thing is that we want to get across is we're not going to finish before the story's finished.
Right, yeah.
So there will be an ending to this thing, and we feel like we're in the third act, but we won't jump the gun is kind of our promise to you. And there's plenty of room for follow-up for sure. Seeing where everybody is in a year from now with their, whether they buy a Lambo or not, but seeing what everyone does and where they are. Some people will lose everything. Some people will, gain everything. So it'll be interesting to see where this all shakes up. But we don't have a release date yet, but we do want to have this thing finished before we actually finish our film.
Rock on. Well, you know what? I think that'll wrap up this Q&A. Matt Kors will be in the documentary, by the way, Eric. And Trey's lamp will also be in the documentary. So we're cooking. All right, man. Is there any last words that you guys have to say about this documentary? Obviously, we're going to give you guys more updates as more stuff comes along, but we want to, use this opportunity to give you guys a huge freaking update on Adam Aron getting in. Some of the big dudes and big names that are going to be a part of this doc, give you the update, see everything's cooking. Any last words, guys? It's been freaking awesome.
Thank you so much for tuning in. If you can help support the documentary in any way, whether that's through a donation or through spreading the word, sharing the link for that donation page, we appreciate it immensely. And we are so excited to get started and telling you guys our story as well.
Of that 500,000 we're trying to raise so far, we're at about 41,000. It's anything you guys can do to help out. I know there's some whales out there. I know you want this story told, so drop some dough on the project.
One last question about this crowdfund, I suppose. So just clarification point, right? If you were to put money to this crowdfund, is that a donation or is that an investment? I think this is probably something that we haven't been super clear about. So it's a good thing to ask.
It is a donation. We have different rewards for different level. You get different credits at each different level. We have t-shirts, a backer exclusive t-shirt at $100, for instance. You get a credit in the film. You get all kinds of different perks as you go. If you go to apes-together-strong-doc.com/donate, all those levels are listed just like a Kickstarter. The only reason we're not doing it on Kickstarter is because they take 10%, and everything you put into the movie, we want to go on the screen as much as possible. So we're kind of dealing with the logistics ourselves. So check out the website and you can kind of see what you can get there, but it is not an investment. It is a donation for the crowdfund.
All right, rock on. Too easy. Well, we won't take up any more of your guys' time. I appreciate you, giving us, 30 minutes of your Memorial Day. Hope that you guys have a good one, man. Pop back a couple beers, grill some dogs, and enjoy the rest of your Monday.
And to the German Apes, Prost, Dankeschön.
Hey, seriously, appreciate everybody that's tuned in here today. Thanks for your time. You guys enjoy the rest of your Memorial Day as well. Like I said earlier in the stream, remember those who are gone. Remember those who are gone. Reflect, mourn, and celebrate. So thanks to everybody who watched. Obviously, this is your boy Trey and the Mulligan Brothers tuning out. Catch you on the next one. Much love and peace.